Hopefully you find this to be a safe place to experience God's radical and unconditional love for each and every one of us, however you express that God to be. So it is step one, technically, because it's January. I wanted to try and express my gratitude properly. And so I'm going to try to do that, and as well connect it to step one. Because my gratitude cup is pretty full. And I found that lots of the stuff at the end of the year of 2016 was kind of negative. There was a lot of negative. 2016 really sucked because it took so many wonderful talents and all that stuff that happened in 2016. I don't know, I haven't really been following it closely, the deaths of celebrities for years. So this year seemed to be exponentially worse if you're watching celebrities and watching them drop dead like flies, right, basically. And I don't mean to make light of it, but I want to connect that to what really matters, I guess, in my life and to people that I work with and people that I know. And that's all the people that we lost last year, not just celebrities. But I having done funerals now for a few years as a part of this ministry here, death is a funny thing. We in North America don't like talking about it. And I look around and I even see people shifting now that I mentioned it. Because death is tough on us when we lose people that we love, whether they're family or they're friends. I find it strange that even a part of me gets a little worked up when, Robin Williams died. That touched really close to home. Right. You got it. So, thank you. So, as that happens, and of course it does, the way it happened connects to each of us in a very special way. So with Robin Williams, maybe we connected as alcoholics and addicts or mental health. Whatever it is, some of those things mean more to us. And so we start to think that it was a really terrible year. The truth of the matter is, as North Americans, there's people that we know and love close to us that pass away. And that has a deep impact on us. The unfortunate part that I find, anyway, and this could just simply be me having been a social worker for almost 20 years, and it could be maybe a part of the dark humor that comes along with trying to cope with all the tragedies that happen, right? But death is nothing to be afraid of. Just like the death of our spirit, in a way, as we accept step one. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that goes into step one. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol and that our lives had become unmanageable. But if we read in the book, and last year, I think it was the same time actually, I did a step one talk here, might have been the same night, really. It could have been exactly 1 year ago, about denial and breaking through denial to have that incomprehensible demoralization that we seem to need in order to be a catalyst for change, right? So last year was a terrible year, 2016. We lost a bunch of wonderful, talented people, as well as wonderful, talented loved ones and friends, right? And people we know in the community. It was a tough year. But 2017 doesn't have to be, really, is it going to be any different? Are people going to stop dying? They're not. We die every day. That's what happens. It's a part of the human condition, and I find it to be rather beautiful, actually, when a human being reaches the end of their life and we pass on, however it happens. Obviously, some circumstances make it a little bit more troubling than others, right? When they're young people. I can't explain that. I have no explanation for it, right? But it's kind of like the denial that goes into our drinking and using. You okay, Lance? Okay. This is why this church is so awesome, right? It's because we get heckled while we're up here, and we kind of like it a little bit. Because it reminds us of the old days a little bit. We don't have bouncers here, though. Not anymore, right? like we used to in the years ago. So step one is we have to concede to our innermost selves the true nature of what our problem is. That's basically what step one is. You okay, Shannon? Okay. So that's really what step one is all about. Because lots of time people come in the rooms and they know they have a problem, right? They know they have a problem with drinking, with drugs, with gambling, with whatever the case may be. But how do we stop, right? How do we break through that very hard wall of understanding that our problem is actually what the problem is and moving into the solution, right? It's very challenging, right? I love this place. It's going to be really hard to not be here all the time. That was one of the things that really flooded me this morning when I was thinking of talking tonight, was the gratitude I have for all this church does, right? And so going from step one, honestly, conceding to our innermost self what our problem is the first step to changing that. Now, it happens differently for everyone, right? But change is inevitable. It will either progressively get worse, as most of us can attest, or if we make a change, it can progressively get better, right? So one of the things that always troubles me about New Year's is the resolutions, right? I used to make them all the time, back when I was practicing. I used to make resolutions every day, like lots of us might have. I swear I'll never drink again. That was my best one, my favorite one, was I swear I'll never drink again, God, if you just get me out of this pickle, right? And I had that New Year's resolution for probably the last year of my drinking. And so it was a whole year of New Year's resolutions. And it's amazing how the denial of the disease can keep us trapped in those good intentions. It keeps us from hitting the bottom when we supposedly should hit the bottom, right? But the bottom keeps falling out from under us. So as the bottom keeps falling out from under us, we look for a new bottom. And we forget how bad it was, right? But until we hit that actual bottom, which is different for most of us, right? And some of us, it doesn't seem to come. And we wonder, how is that possible that the bottom isn't coming? I know friends of mine that have been to prison on federal terms, and it's still not enough. Something still has to change, right? They have to accept whatever it is that they're not able to accept. So admitting that I'm an alcoholic is one thing, and then practicing not drinking after that is another, right? Just like for most of us here. So gratitude is huge in recovery. It's huge. And so moving from the step one, trying to acknowledge and accept to our innermost selves that our problem is whatever it might be, right? And moving forward from that. So Pathway to Freedom is coming up in this month. I guess it is this month now. And as I move away from working at the church, and I'm able to hopefully volunteer, depending on how much time, because Pathway to Freedom, we're creating a charity for it. That's what we're doing. So that we can offer the services for free. Because we don't want people who can't afford counseling to go without. And so I'm pretty humbled by this, because I had some people approach me and ask me if I would do it. And they didn't even really know what was going to happen at the church. They knew that the funds were coming to, the church is in financial crisis, right? It's no secret. And that's okay, because it has to be. It happens to every organization off and on through the years. Any organization that makes it goes through those troubles. And the church probably is going to make it, right? It's been here a long time. So as we develop this charity in order to bring services that otherwise people might not get. Because there's waiting lists at treatment centers. There's only a certain amount of, say, counseling sessions you get for free with different places. We want to take all that out and have no restrictions on that. Because that is a part of what this church has done. And so that leads me to gratitude. Because without step one and the steps in general, finding that gratitude is really tough. Because unlike most people, 2 months ago I think it was, when I found out I was losing my contract, the first thing I did was, in my head anyway, I don't know what I said out loud, I can't remember. But in my head I said, oh shit, right? Like, oh crap. So this will be the last time I preach here, obviously, because I just said shit. But so I probably went through that in my head, because I can't remember exactly what happened. I know I started panicking, because I'm human, right? And with all the people that I've worked with over the last few years, lots of people are out of work. This is not something that just happened to me. So of course that was immediately reinforced as I prayed was, yeah, it happens to lots of people. It's very unfortunate. But the only thing that we can do is continue to move forward and try to do what it is we think the best that we can do. So then gratitude started to fill up my bucket of, oh, poor me, I'm in trouble, what am I going to do? I'm pretty sure I planned on giving my notice at my apartment and was like, I better just live in my car, even though I have like a wonderful family and friends. I was still thinking, because the addict started activating, was, oh my God, I have to live in my car down by the river, right? Because I can't go to anyone who loves me, because my brain shoots right back to 12 and a half years ago when I basically had very limited resources because I was at my bottom. Or I thought I had limited resources, right? So gratitude is what fills the boat and fills the bucket, right? So as we start this new year, what I wanted to do was something a little bit different tonight, if I'm allowed. So what I want to do is I want to call on you to help us move forward, right? I want to call on each of you. If you have something you're grateful for to start the year off so that we can replace some of those maybe less than savory memories, I'm going to leave it open for you to come up here and tell us. Because what happened this morning when I was talking with someone who I work with, it was really given to me to be grateful for everything. Now, I have health problems, and lots of people know about them if you've been around. So part of my worry about work was my health. Can my back hold up? Will I be able to do the same schedule that I used to do as a youngster? And starting a charity is a lot of work, right? So, but the gratitude is that I have the ability to be flexible. The gratitude is I have a wonderful family. The gratitude is we have a wonderful church that respects the traditions of recovery. And that's pretty amazing. So at this time, I'll stand up here with you to make sure, if you get out of hand, we'll just nudge you off the stage. But I want to open it up to you guys to come and share with us as your church, if you're members here or not, it doesn't matter, your gratitude and your hopes for 2017. Because I'm selfishly doing it, I want you to fill my bucket, right? Because I take great joy in hearing other people's joys. It fills my heart in ways that I can't imagine.
I'll just be super grateful. I got to be a surrogate this year for a couple, and obviously I'm still pregnant. And the prayers in the bulletin that people came to me in this church and talked to me about what they experienced, like what they felt, and the good wishes to me and the parents was just mind-blowing. Like, because I thought there would be some stigma, right? Because it's a church, and maybe there would be something like that if we're Catholic. And for 2017, I just want to continue to be able to be of service here, and do everything I can to help.
I'm Lorraine and I'm an alcoholic. I have gratitude for this church, for this recovery service every Sunday. I have recently just joined AA this last year, and this church service has meant a lot to me. It helped me get my conscious contact with the God of my understanding. And the church bulletin every week has a recovery message, and I cut it out every week, and for that I'm very grateful. Thanks.
Nathan, I'm a recovering alcoholic addict. I'm grateful for the courage that I've gotten from my sobriety to make these moves and step up in front of people and speak. I'm grateful for the friends that I've met in my recovery, and I'm grateful for the support that I've received from Calgary and this church. So, thank you.
I'm Wendy. I'm a recovering addict. Hi, Wendy. I'm grateful for the chance to be a part of Central and to volunteer here. I'm grateful for my family here at Central, like everybody who shows up on Sundays. I'm grateful for having my granddaughter, and just recently got my daughter back in my life. I am grateful that I had a chance to go back home in 2016 to be with my aunt. And I'm grateful that I have a roof over my head and from Keys. I'm just grateful for the past 4 years of my life, because 4.5 years ago was when I started my struggles in my recovery. I'm coming up on 2 years clean and sober on January 5th. So I'm grateful for that. And without the supports and the people in my life today, I wouldn't have that. So I thank all of you for being a part of my life and continue to be a part of my life.
Hi, Brian. I'm an alcoholic drug addict. I'm grateful to be alive. Grateful to not be part of the statistics you were talking about. It's been lots gone. Grateful to be home in the program, fellowship. I'm grateful for God.
Good evening, friends. My name's Lenore, and I'm an alcoholic. This is such a beautiful place, you know, a place of serenity, a place where we can meet God and God can meet us. And, you know, this last year, it brought a lot of challenges to me, and I've been a part of recovery service for about 4 years now, and for the last 7 months, I sort of had to take time for Lenora and take time to get better and work through the steps, work through the program, meet more with my sponsor, you know, just so many things, and connect with my family. You know, when I came into the rooms of AA, I'd lost everything. I was done. And my family is the only one that really couldn't help me. And in fact, they actually wrote me off and said, like, you know, we're done with you. And it didn't all happen overnight to get them back. It took a lot of years. And my mom just turned 99 in September. And I was able to go home to Manitoba and to be with my entire family. There was 78 of us, and that's just my immediate family. And we had a great time. It was nice. You know, I'm really glad. That's one of the gifts and one of the things I got back in my life was my family. Because when I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, that was the first thing I reasoned out right away, is that my family can't help me stay sober. They don't know how to help me. I need the rooms of AA. And I'm coming up to 10 years this month, and you know, my family gave me 7 days, and I'm coming up to 10 years, and you know, I'm enjoying life now. It feels great to wake up to a nice cup of coffee. You know, I came to church today. I didn't plan to come to church today. I was riding on the C train this morning with my partner, and she was going to work, and I thought, well, I'm going to go sit on the computer all day. There's nothing to do. And it's like God spoke to me in the C train as I was coming back down into the city. He said, I want you to go there this morning, and I want you to go tonight. And, you know, God spoke to me this morning. He gave me some wonderful promises that I held on to. And then I went on the computer, and I pushed the wrong button, and I deleted everything I had. So it was a wonderful afternoon, but, you know, I could handle it today. I didn't have to get mad over it. You know, I just thought, oh, well, I can fix that tomorrow. And so coming here is a gift for me to come into these rooms. And I still have to go to a lot of meetings. When I have a problem or trouble, or my sponsor's not with me or can't be there for me, I know what I need to do now. I need to just go to another meeting. And the more meetings I still go to, the better I become. And I get better. I have some character defects now that I see that I didn't have when I was drinking. And I'm an alcoholic. My mom told me I was an alcoholic when I was 18 years old. I won't tell you how old I am now, but I should have listened to her then. I could have saved myself from a lot of pain and trouble. And, you know, I am so grateful today that I get to come to church. And I get to sit in the pews. And I did that all my life, but it didn't mean a thing. My father was a minister, and I grew up a preacher's kid. But they didn't save me from alcohol, you know. When I had my chance, I bolted, and I should have stayed. But today I'm grateful, and it's a new day, a new year, and I'm really excited to see what God's going to do in this place, in each of your lives, in my life, that we just move on, you know. Death is real. Death is a part of life, and we have to face it sometimes too, and I've had a lot of losses in recovery, and I'm so glad that I still have another day of recovery. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Teresa, and I'm still an addict. So I really have trouble public speaking, but I had to do this. I came here 22 years ago, and 22 years ago I had less trouble up here than I do today. Something about that. But yeah, January, it'll be 22 years ago that I came into recovery, and it's a long time, and I'm getting to feel really old. But I just have to say that this church saved my life over and over and over. And those of us that have been around for a long time know what I mean. So I'm really grateful for what's been here for me, for all of us, for the last 22 years, and hopefully we'll be here for a long time to come. It's been a rough year in 2016, it really was, but I really like what you said, David. You know, like, it is about what's going on around us and what's going on around for us personally, but that doesn't mean that we have to stay in that sorrow. It is a new year, and it's a new beginning, and my prayer for all of us and for this church is that we go in 2017 and carry the message that I've had the gift of receiving for the last 22 years, and that's about God's love. And that's about what God's love does in our life and what we have here for us. And for us to all carry that message and do it with kindness. So, thank you.